After what seemed like hours, I finally woke up, slightly refreshed. My body knew that if I slept any longer, I'd be up all night, which was not part of the plan for the day. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, letting a soft groan escape my lips. In response, something beside my bed shuffled, causing me to look over. It was probably Erik, sleeping in a chair. I didn't know what I was expecting. Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was Erik, rousing himself to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing his slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
You're awake, princess. That's a relief. How do you feel?
Beber?
Erik nodded before... I almost called him Merrick.
That would be an entirely different game.
I would actually like him then. Erik nodded before he gently reached over and placed his hand over mine, running his thumb over my knuckles and examining my face with soft sadness. What? Are we going into angst territory again?
I must apologize, princess. To see you be hunted by both demons and devils, I feel entirely responsible.
Literally none of this had anything to do with you, though. None of it. None of it. None of it.
Erik, it's not your fault.
No, forgive me, but I can't stand the thought of them hurting you. If we had never come, you'd never be in danger.
I quickly reached over and put my fingers on his lips, stopping him from going any further.
Fingers.
I didn't want to hear anymore, so I literally just covered his mouth.
Erik, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you all stay. Nothing is your fault.
I gently moved my hand and cupped Erik's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate, and she'd hunt down anyone for them. It was hers fault. Wait, oh god. I was saying it was his fault.
It was his fault.
It wasn't his fault. She was desperate enough to hunt them down. However, I was curious.
So, Erik, you're a noble?
Erik chuckled before he stared at the hand he was caressing with a soft sigh.
Yes, I'm a noble. My brothers and I are nobles. Well, I guess I should say were now, shouldn't I?
Were?
James was the demon prince when we lived in the abyssal plains. The others and I were simply nobles living in the castle simply because of our bloodline. Should James fail or die, we were the replacements. Well, we didn't want to live like that, as simply replacements over our brother. So we all wanted to leave and be an actual family.
What was it like while you were there?
Well, to put it simply, it was boring. James was constantly being trained while the rest of us had to constantly entertain ourselves without disturbing him. I, however, was also being trained under the guidance of my mother.
Your mother?
Yes, she was a lovely woman. I never knew what she looked like.
Did he keep all of his wives under sheets or in magical orbs? Like, what is the deal? That makes no sense. How could he not know what his own mother looked like? Erik, as if he read my mind, smiled and chuckled at the confusion on my face.
Our father had multiple wives. James, myself, Sam, and Matthew came from these very women. But tensions grew high when Damien was born outside our father's marriages.
Ooh.
In order to quell the tension, our father had a powerful demon mage turn our mothers into simple, floating spirits. They lived, but they could not have physical form.
Right, I'm sure that solved everything.
I was he only first of all, that don't make sense. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, it's not like the demon lord is smart.
Second of all, we know that he didn't do that to Damien's mother, of course.
It's because
she was the one he liked. Oh god, that's so awful. Oh my god. At least we're getting answers as to why Sam's mom was just a weird floaty orb thing.
That's horrible!
It is, but which is better? A house where the sons of the Demon Lord could have their birth mothers, or watching these very women claw at each other's throats out of jealousy, leaving the sons with no true parental guidance?
wouldn't they still have jealousy as spirits?
Can't attack each other.
Yeah, but they could still, like, shout at each other constantly, and...
Our father didn't have time for anyone but James. So the rest of us needed someone to make sure we didn't grow up to be incompetent.
Erik had a point. It was hard, but it was a logical point. I bit my lip and nodded in understanding. Erik gently brought my hand up to kiss my knuckles.
Would you like to see what I mean instead?
I stared, trying to understand what he meant. However, as the memory of when he showed me the demon palace replayed in my mind, I nodded and let my curiosity guide me. Erik smiled before simply holding out one hand to me and letting a small breath rush against his palm. Instantly, the flower Erik had given to me appeared in his hand, making him smirk and making me blush. Flower, so blushy.
You kept it. Good.
Erik wrapped his fingers gingerly around the stem, giving it the magic it had been given before and casting an aura-like mirror before me. I peered in to see the castle hall once again. The memory of being in that hall, albeit by magic, set a small shiver down my spine. I watched, however. What? Oh, what? Hold on.
Oh no!
We're going there. I watched, however, as a very familiar demon walked arm in arm with a woman with cat ears and a tail down the walkway.
Tiffy, my sweet kitten.
Tiffy?
You truly astound me. Whatever shall I do with you?
I've seen hell. I've seen it with my own eyes,
Oh no!
and I repent.
Stop it, you're making me blush.
But what if I want to make you blush? You're so much cuter when you blush, kitten.
Stop.
I felt my eye twitch in irritation.
Same.
Probably for a different reason than you, Laundry, but... Why was Erik showing me this? Was he trying to spite me? I didn't want to see him flirt with other demon girls. I already had some trouble with him flirting with me.
You sly incubus, you. I'll get in trouble for sure if I'm caught with you.
Then shouldn't we make the risk worthwhile?
Ooh. Erik held the cat girl close to...
God. I can't. Oh god.
Why is this canon? I thought the Neko AU was just like for the DLC.
No, there's animal demons too. We knew this from the audition information for the sequel.
I didn't know.
There's a rabbit girl that was part of the auditions.
Erik held the cat girl close to his body, looking almost ready to kiss her. The girl, however, mewed and pulled away, giggling in almost cute embarrassment.
Such a bad incubus, so bad. I should go.
You're bad. Gross. Sounds like...
Me! That's what cats sound like, right?
I mean, no. Our cat sounds like... Wah!
Ah, very well, you minx. Until we meet again.
Alright, look.
I just cringed so hard.
Here's the thing. I actually couldn't cringe during that line because he just sounded to me like a stereotypical flamboyant gay boy. So, like, it made it less cringeworthy because I was like, this is not you. The cat girl giggled before rushing out of the main hall, but not before Are you serious? But not before Erik lowered his hand underneath her tail as she turned and let it slide across his fingers as she ran off, making the cat girl jump in surprise. The girl playfully glared at Erik, who only pouted innocent lips in return before she exited. Bye! As the girl left the room, Erik's face went from flirtatious to almost ice cold. Erik let out a sigh, gently rubbing his hands to rid himself of the fur that had caught on him, and rolled his shoulders.
Well, mother, was that enough to please you?
Oh, that's right, because she was always training him to be the perfect incubi.
Well,
I stared, shocked at the personality change. What the heck happened to Erik? He was flirty, charming, and almost disgustingly complimentary. It's not almost.
it's not almost.
It's not almost. It's like way into disgustingly complimentary territory. But the Erik who I was seeing in the mirror wasn't him at all. When will my reflection show
Who I am inside.
inside?
Hi, floating orb mom.
A small red orb surrounded with a veil of purple mist entered the space, making my mind go blank. It approached Erik, glowing as it spoke.
Very well done, dear. Much better than I expected of you.
Thank you. You taught me well.
That I did. You must never forget, however, to always listen to your women. Serving them is your #1 priority. Should they be uncomfortable, you must step back and be as submissive as possible.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Sorry. Oh my god!
You just stomped on my foot.
Look. When I said I called it, I called it.
Yes, Mother.
Good. Now, continue to woo that cat girl. Once she gives you her energy, then you can toss her back out. You don't need any pets hanging around when you find another girl.
I'm going to interject that according to the audition information for Seduce Me 2, animal demons are like the lowest tier on the hierarchy of classes in Demon World. So like they're pets or like slaves or whatever.
This is very Ruby.
As you wish, Mother.
I stared in utter shock. The orb vanished, but Erik remained in the hall, letting out a sigh. He had a look of displeasure on his face. He looked tired as well, but something seemed off. He looked like he had a lot on his mind, but his closed mouth wouldn't let him speak them. He was submissive to his guidance. That was it? When are we gonna get another Damien-like cutscene like that? That set me up for what I was expecting from like the rest of the game. And I mean, Sam's was good, but it wasn't like, Damien.
It wasn't as emotionally gripping.
As emotionally gripping, and I'm not saying you constantly have to do things that are really that could be triggering to people to make something emotionally gripping.
But like it gives a climax to the story.
Well, yeah, also,
and then if that's the first route that you play, most of the other ones aren't gonna
meet up to it.
Yeah.
Expectations. In story, conflict is the driving factor. And yes, was there conflict in that scene? Yes, but nothing like the conflict in the scene with Damien. I just wanted something on that level, something on the same level as the Damien level. And Sam was nice, but didn't meet that level, and this one definitely didn't meet that level for me. I'm sorry, I'm disappointed. I am. I turned away from the mirror to look at the Erik behind. It does actually say the Erik. I turned away from the mirror to look at the Erik beside me, who had a look of both sadness and guilt. It was as like a puppy admitting to chewing my favorite chew, or a child stealing a cookie from my cookie jar. Erik stopped the magic, blowing the mirror out of existence, and letting it fade away in the air before he looked at me.
She taught me well, at least what she could teach me anyway. That visage became habit, and now it's a natural persona to me. She taught me to always serve and make the women I met happy. She always said that was the true incubus way.
I hate to break it to you, Erik, but your mom was a bad teacher. Like, a really bad teacher. You should get your money back.
And maybe see a therapist while you're at it.
I mean, yes.
As should all of you, probably.
The true incubus way?
It makes sense, no? If I can please and serve any women I meet, then I can surely convince them to fully give their energy to me.
I began to see the mask Erik was wearing. He wasn't putting on airs because he was overly complimentary. He was complimentary in order to gain trust and respect. Or
and then use it against you.
Manipulate you.
That is smart. Is it?
It is. However, I know what you're thinking, Princess. I don't blame you for thinking what you are thinking of right now.
Then what am I thinking of right now?
Who am I exactly? If I am truly not as flirtatious as I act, then what do I act like?
This is what we've been
be the next
thinking
victim?
from the start!
I can assure you, Princess, that I am no danger to you.
How can I be so sure?
Because, Princess, I don't deserve your trust or energy.
I stared, my mind going blank. What did he mean? Erik lifted my hand again and gently caressed it, staring down at it.
You've done so much for me and my brothers, sheltering us, letting us continue to live here. It may not seem like much, but to a family of brothers without anywhere to go, it means everything. I can't soil your gifts to us by taking anything from you. You've become so important and precious to us, to me. To take anything from you like that would be beyond unforgivable.
I watched in speechless silence as Erik lifted my hand higher and simply laid his lips against it. I could feel his frown and felt my shame burning itself into my skin. His shame. It was a pitiful sight, and it almost made my eyes water.
I could never do that to you.
Erik lowered my hand and lowered his head, ashamed. The pity train is going non-stop, no breaks tonight, choo-choo! He truly cared. Erik let a small sigh before looking to me, his face now clear of the flirtatious mask he bore for so long. He had a genuine, caring, and loving smile bared for me. This was the man inside of the incubus who cared for me and wanted to be revealed.
Now, princess, you must get some more rest. You aren't fully recovered, and dinner is a good scent to wake up to.
Erik smiled and gently pressed me back down on the bed. We'll steal a kiss, you loser. I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Erik down to me, lifted my head and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Erik stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at this simple gesture. He let out a satisfied hum before nuzzling my forehead.
Sleep.
Alright. And with that,
Okay.
with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress.
Oh, fuck you.